What is going on, guys? It is your boy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm coming out with you my first deck profile for post Phantom of Rage, or Rage of Abyss. Yeah, Rage of the Abyss. Excuse me, not post Phantom of Rage. Post Rage of the Abyss. I had an amazing time at the 3v3 tournament. I had a blast, honestly. I got 2 of the decks done I wanted to get done that day. I also managed to get 2 cards that I needed staple-wise for in general. Well, 2 more copies of a card I have that I needed for staple-wise, which is going to be included in this deck as well. I literally have so many decks to get to you guys, so just know that I have been extremely busy trying to get you guys all these decks that I have here. We're lined up to showcase you video-wise, and then this is just the first one I'm doing off the chalk of the list for competitive-wise. Obviously, I may not take all these to a tournament, but if I was to play the deck, this is what I would be playing for Rage of the Abyss format. So, without further ado, go ahead and show support. Hit that notification bell if you guys want to get notified when I update or upload all of these decks that I am going to be going through. And I'm coming at you with something that I haven't actually tried yet. This is Plant Link. Very familiar deck to a lot of people, especially in the Euro region, as they're known for playing Plant Link. However, not many people outside of Euro play Plant Link, to my knowledge. Some people are familiar with, what is it, Jess? Sunseed Jess or something like that on YouTube for the Plant Link thing. However, I didn't do any of those, like, look into it. All I really know of is what I watched in the Euro Yu-Gi-Oh! And then took my adaptation to it and created this version. So it may not look like your standard lists of Plant Link. However, it does do some of the similar, a lot of the same combos, but it adds some different ones to it. I adapted it to make it like kind of how I would use to counteract this meta in a sense. But you'll see all that when I get to the spreadsheet combos or combos at the end of the video, and this is going to be a pretty long video, so I do appreciate you guys sticking around for it. I'll leave a timestamp down below if you guys want to skip the deck profile and go right to the combos for when that will get you there, or the test hands. Yeah. So let's get right into it. It's a big deck, and yeah, 60 cards. Starting off with the main deck, we have the main monster, which starts off the main one of our plant combos, is Sunseed Genius Loci. Very familiar if you guys have watched the Link Reigns series. Then you know this is one of the main cards for Spectre in the show. It's a straight vanilla, but it's needed to do some of the combos because it literally is required as one of the starter parts for the one monster for the Sinavalon Dryas that we started in our extra deck. So it has to be played. Some people could play 3 of this, but 2 of this is actually just fine, and yeah. You don't need 3 because this deck is very tight, and the extra deck is even tighter. Like, I can't mess around with the extra deck 1 iota. But that's not the only normal plant monster we play in this deck, and this is part of my addition to it that normal people aren't playing. I'm playing 1 copy of Angel Trumpeteer. Now, there's a specific reason that I'm choosing Angel Trumpeteer here. Not only does it count if I needed another plant normal monster that's level 4 or lower, not only to make Dryas in case somehow I open up the Genius Loci, this is another one there. However, it is also a plant tuner. It's a normal plant tuner, so it fits the requirements to be summoned off of that. So, for that reason alone, this is in here. That's it for the normal plant monsters. Onto the rest of the plant engine. To continue off with the only other Sun Avalon Sunseed monster we're playing is 1 copy of Sunseed Twin. This card should be familiar because it was always in a Plant Link deck. You could say that this card is like a double plant monster. Not related to pun, but Whenever it's normal or special, and if I control a Snevolin Link monster, I have to target level 4 lower plant normal monster in my graveyard, which in either case will be either the Angel Trumpeteer or the copy of Sunseed Genius Loci down here. And special summon it. And then has another effect in the graveyard, which sometimes can come up, but not in the main combos, where you can banish this card from your graveyard and one Link monster you control. If you have 2 or more plant Link monsters with the same name against each other in your graveyard, you special summon one of them. So it can come up, but not as often. On to the next big plant engine that we have in the deck, and this is one of the newer engines we have. Also one of my favorite, a deck that I kind of posted. This engine was included in a reptile version. That should give you the hint for this deck, for this engine anyway. It is the Ragnaraika engine. We are playing 3 copies of Ragnaraika, the Evil Seed. This card is already, like I said, if you guys need to know more about this card or what this guy does, go back and watch the Ragnaraika reptile deck profiles that I have back there. May not be updated, but if I was to play a version of Reptile Plant, this format, I would be playing Plant. Simply because Plant has a lot of the gas to get rid of or put up a better board right now. But yes, 3 copies of Evil Seed. But we are playing 2 other Ragnaraika monsters as well. We are playing 1 copy of Wicked Butterfly and Samurai Beetle. They may not be plant monsters, however, their effects are really needed for sometimes. Wicked Butterfly is in here because you can use her as a free extension starter. Simply by discarding her, you can special summon 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand. So you're just literally using her off of her for effects. You're not even normal summoning her because you're most of the time going to be locked into special summoning plants on its own. So for that reason, you're literally just using her to get a free extension starter. Like if you somehow badly break this card, can help you unbrick essentially. Also, it's mostly fodder because if you add it off of the effect of Evil Seed and banish it, you're going to be guaranteed to draw a card at the end of the turn because you're definitely going to control a plant Link monster. So you're guaranteed to get a free redraw at the end of the turn, which helps regain your hand. As for Samurai Beetle's in here because it's part of a combo piece. That's also an easy, if you normal summon it to make into the Skeletal Soldier in our extra deck, it's a nice revive for our graveyard to get climbing out. It's also a free search target off of the Samurai Seed. Off of the Seed. Then, one of my favorite cards from the Edison format, it was included in this deck. That's Lone Fire Blossom. It's in here because it's used for the Jasmine combo. It also gets literally accesses any one of our plant engines. You literally summon the Loci, could sometimes summon the Seed. It summons literally any piece. In testing of my versions, there were times I even played 2 in the main deck to see getting access, because sometimes I feel like if the 1 Lone Fire Blossom gets out, you need to get access to the second one. But I figured out just 1 Lone Fire Blossom in the main deck is really good. Where all you really need. So for that reason, only 1. Off into the next big plant engine that we have in this deck. That is 3 copies of Rika Princess. Rika Princess is obviously part of the Rika archetype. And this is my first time experiencing the Rika archetype, and I really like it as a really good plant extension. So, for instance, and by the way, the artwork on these is absolutely insane if you're a waifu fan. But I am personally semi into that, but I wouldn't say I'm gaga over it. But anyways, Rika Princess, during the main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, but while it's face up in the monster zone, you can't special summon any monsters except plant monsters, which is not a problem for us. When your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Rika monster, quick effect, shuffle this card from your hand or graveyard into your deck, and tribute 1 plant monster, negate that effect. Simple as that. Very, very good effect. You can only use each of the effect of Rika Princess once per turn. That's not a problem in any one of our senses, because both of them are very good effects. And since we play 3 copies of her, it's not, too big of a trouble. But she's also a really good plant extension too, and she helps us make one of our best Xyz monsters we have in our extra deck. Because she is level 4. Continuing off with the Rika engine, we are playing 1 copy of Rika Petal. Rika Petal is actually pretty amazing too. She gets the ability to take a Rika monster from your deck, except Petal, either add to your hand or send it to your graveyard. So you can use her immediately as a normal summon, or off of, like, normal summon her, use her effect, grab Mudan, and go right off with the rest of the Rika engine off of that on its own. But you're locked in a plants if you use that effect, and during your opponent's end phase, if this is in your graveyard, if you control no monsters or all the monsters you control are plant, she comes back to the field. So it's really nice to get like a free recursion off of her. She reminds me a lot of Treeborn Frog, essentially. Off into the next Rika monster, we have 2 copies of Mudan, the Rika Fairy. She, to me, is the most important Rika monster, if I'm going to be honest with you, because she does everything you need to get into the final result of the plant, of the combo for Rikas. She sets up brutally everything, because you tribute a plant monster, special summon this card for your hand. And then if this is a normal summon or special summon by the effect of a plant monster, which she herself counts as a plant monster, so she's special summoned off her own effect, it counts. You get to add a Rika spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and off of that alone, you're going to guarantee at least your interruption on your opponent's next turn, big time. Just off of that alone. So for that reason alone, she is a definite 2 of. I saw people playing this at 1, especially like the Julius guy. I can't remember his last name right now, but he literally was at he played Plant Link at a YCS. I saw that. I can't remember the place right now, but his first name was Julius something. Point being said, he played one of this. I think 2 is correct, or at least my version of this. I play 2. However, that's not the last Rika monster. We do play one other Rika monster, and this one took me the longest to get a hold of, and that's 1 copy of Snowdrop, the Rika Fairy. She basically is tribute a plant monster, special on both this and 1 other plant monster from your hand, but you obviously can't summon anything but plant the rest of the turn, which is not a problem. You can target 1 plant monster you control. All plant monsters you currently control become that monster's level until the end of this turn. She's important because she helps you make the Xyz monster we play for Rika. She literally is the 1 card you need to make the play that happen because of that last effect. Then we have another mini plant engine. This is a lot of engines, but this is a 60 card plant link for a reason. We are playing 2 copy of Aroma Lilith Rosalina. I'm looking for my 3rd copy of Rosalina. I'm also considering trying to put in a regular copy of Aroma Seraphie Jasmine. The level, I think it's level 1, or she's either level 1 or level 2. With 100 attack, 1900 defense. If you gain life points, you get an additional normal summon of plant monster, something like that. Sorry, I just almost hit my phone. I almost hit my camera. But anyways, yeah, 2 copies of Rosalina. She's very good because you can use her to discard her and then target a Aroma monster you control, gain life points, which means you can target the Link monster we would have in our extra deck for this. But what she's really in here for, if she's normal or special summoned, you can special summon 1 non-tuner Aroma monster from your deck. So that's the other reason why I'm looking for Jasmine, the regular Jasmine, because you could summon her off of the effect, or you could summon the next monster we have in the deck, which is the only Aroma monster we're playing, and that's 1 copy of Aroma Mage Laurel. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you gain 500 life points, like no issue, like no questions asked. You're gaining 500 life points, and if your opponent's life points, if your life points are higher than your opponent's, you can easily special summon this card from your hand. So, free great recursion. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool if there was a level 2 plant sinker that you playing, because this is like a 1 access to that whole engine, to that 1 monster. But they're not. Then you can really say this is like a plant engine, but not all the monsters inside of it are considered plant. I'm talking about the Therion engine, and that's 3 copies of Therion Lily Borea. She's a plant extension on her own, but she also searches the Therion spell or trap we need in our deck, which is obviously our 1 field spell. But the only other monster we play in this deck is Therion-wise is for this package is 1 copy of Therion King Regulus. Even though we can't special summon if we're locked into plants, it is a very good 1 card interruption for an Omni Negate because we're locked into plants the rest of the turn. If we don't do that, so like you open up Lily, you summon Lily off the effect, her own effect. You get access to the field spell, which is the next card in the deck, which is I'm going to showcase now because this is also the end of the monsters. That's one copy of Therion Disc Coliseum. You get this Coliseum, you activate this Coliseum, get Regulus, special summon Regulus by equipping Borea onto it, and boom. You can now then use Therion King Regulus effect, send the Borea to the graveyard, and then get access to, or have a negate. So, that's why Therion Regulus is in here, because it helps us like go off with the rest of our effects, protected by anything else. So that's why we have this Therion engine in here. Also, it's also a level 8, which helps again make our Xyz monster for the Rika stuff. Like I said, that was the end of the monsters, and I already started the spells, so continuing up with the spells, we do play other field spells in the deck. One of the most important field spells that we play in the deck, which is in 2 of in this deck, because it's so good, is 2 copies of Rika Con. I know like people only say you only need 1 copy of Con. I personally like 2 copies of Con and 2 copies of the other Rika spell card, which we'll get to later. Simply because that if you use the other one, which is Rika Glamour, you're technically playing more into like another Ash thing. If you hit the Glamour, you mostly stop that whole combo. And if you use Con, you're setting it off of the effect of Con. So you're not, and I personally like the fact that you can tribute other monsters your opponent controls to do your plan effects. So for that reason alone, I think Con was just a better choice, and more versatility. Excuse me. The last field spell we play in the deck is 1 copy of Blackguard, and this is a new addition to the deck, which I played in one of my Ragnaraika decks. This card is a really good check to Infinite and Permanence right now, or Kashtira in general. By using this field spell, anytime you normal or special summon, your opponent is getting a token, and a plant token, and you're basically, it's like I'll explain in this. It's a very old card for a reason. Have its attack, then the controller of that monster special summons 1 rose token, plant, dark, level 2, 800 attack, 800 defense to your opponent's field in attack position. This attack loss remains even if this card leaves the field. You can target 1 monster in your graveyard with attack equal to the total attack of all plant monsters on the field. Destroy this card and as many plant monsters on the field as possible. Then, if you destroyed all of them, special summon that targeted monster. You're never losing that last effect. It's literally in here to have your opponent's attack and give them tokens so they can't, activate Infinite and Permanence. Or special summon their Kashtira monster. Also, it's going to be part of a cool lock that we have later on in this deck as well. So, this card is important for that. So, if you're like noticing your opponent's a really heavy Imperm player or a Kashtira player, this card is going to be very good in that matchup. We are playing Set Rotation. Set Rotation is another good way to dodge Infinite and Permanence right now. That's why we play 4 field spells. Literally, you can give your opponent the Black Garden or the other copy of Con. But don't ever give your opponent the Disc Coliseum, because that's your card that you need to get into your Therion thing. But this is great because it gets, like I said, puts a card on your opponent's field, so Impermanence is pretty much dead in that sense. Then again, search off our field spells. We need Terraforming. Not need, but we have Terraforming in here. Just great to get access to any one of them that we need. Yeah. Onto the Rika card I also mentioned is 2 copies of Rika Glamour, which I mentioned that we play in the deck, and that's why I played 2 copies of it. So Rika Glamour, why we said this, because it gets ashed pretty often, is because you activate this card by tributing a plant monster. You can also tribute a plant monster, add a Rika monster from your deck to hand. Then if you tributed a monster when you activate this card, you can add a plant monster with the same original level as that Rika monster. So, for example, if you activate this card, and 90% of the time when you activate Glamour, you're going to have Con out on the field, and Con will say that you can tribute your opponent's monsters to activate your effect that requires a tribute of a plant monster. So when you have Con out, you activate Glamour, tribute your opponent's monster, search out a Rika card, which for example, you search out the Rika Snowdrop, and then because you tribute an opponent's monster, you get to search out another level 8 plant monster. So you get to search out, for example, Therion Lily Borea. That's just an example of one of the ways you can do that, but that's explaining like how it's used. So that's why we were playing 2 copies of Glamour. Continuing on with the spells. We have 2 copies of Sunvine Sowing. This is really a our main starter, well, an extension really off of our plant engine. We searched this off of when we link into Sanavalon Dryas from Sunseed Jin's Loki, which is one of the big ways we start off this whole plant combo. It's needed, even though you take the 1,000 damage. Trust me, you're going to gain that life point back. It's also cool because you can banish this from your graveyard to protect your plant line monsters from being destroyed by battle or by an opponent's card effect. Very, very good effect. This is like, think of it as graveyard effect like branded opening. Then we play one copy of Aroma Blend. This is part of the Aroma engine. I will preface this right now. We are not playing the Aroma Fusion monster, which is Aroma Seraphine Magnolia. We are not playing that in this extra deck. I found that Magnolia does not help unless you're doing like a really heavy Aroma engine. And this is really just a 5-card engine. Yeah, 3 monsters, 1 spell, 1 trap. And that's really all that it is in here for. Yeah, I don't need to say anything else more about this. That's really all it's in here for. Because what it does, aside from being a fusion card, is you can discard a card and place Humid Winds, Dried Winds, or Blessed Winds from your hand or deck face up in your spell and trap card zone, which is what is really in for, because that way we don't have to spend a turn setting the trap card in our deck, which we'll get to later. Just waiting a turn to set it. No, we just get to place it because of Blend. It's searchable, so that's why we only need to play 1. It's not a brick, but it can be said as a really bad starter. One of our best starters that we have in our deck is actually Unexpected Die. I never want to see this card except unless my field is completely empty, because otherwise this card is just dead. But you need it because it's really good, to start off wise. Die is a really old card. Just if you have no monsters, you set them in a level 4 or lower normal monster from your deck. This is a 1-card starter for the Sanavalon engine. On its own, you do this, which I'll show later. But literally, it's this, and you get I'll show you the end board. But it's on this card alone sets you off a pretty nice board, uninterrupted. By the way, if they ash that, you have to start it off, but it baits ash as well. But if it resolves, you're going off into a big board. Then we are playing 2 copies of Ragnaraika Bloom. In a lot of my Ragnaraika versions, you would see me usually play 3 copies of the card. You can see that I had the 3rd one here on the side. Just to show, yeah, I do have 3. I'd show, but I only chose to play 2 for this list. Because I have an 8-card Ragnaraika engine in this version, and otherwise it would be 9. Plus, I had to cut something out, and we're not really trying to stack attack points on these guys, which, by the way, this card is very good for doing that. Attack and defense, and lowering your opponent's attack and defense is very good. But this is really just an add in a re-extender. But we don't need it crazy big time, but it's a very good card nevertheless, and that's why we're playing 2 copies of it. Then we have our board breakers, which is what this main deck is about. We are not playing hand traps in this deck because we have a lot of the plant monsters are needed to make off a really big board at the end. And this format right now, I feel like if you hand trap, Pack and Sam really explained it after Sam won the YCS. If your opponent, every time you hand trap your opponent, it feels like they do better. So really, I think it's board breaker format realistically, because so many board breakers right now are just absolutely insane. So for that reason, we are playing 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Very good board breaker. These are some of the best board breakers in the format right now. I'm talking we got Forbidden Droplets, Dark Ruler No More, which is just a crazy card, going second, but not great going first. But it's absolutely mandatory to play in most decks right now. You should be playing a lot of these similar cards. Triple Tactics Talent, again, a very amazingly broken card. If you get hit by an Ash Blossom or anything like that, you're +2ing or literally acting anything. And then the card that I had to finally got my other 2 copies of, which was not cheap, but I thank God I got these because they're shooting up like crazy rockets right now. That's copies of Triple Tactic Stress. These 12 spell cards right here are absolutely fantastic right now. They are good against any deck in the format right now. Just trust me when I say this 12, fantastic. a lot of my decks are going to be showcasing these specific 12. Like this 12 on its own is fantastic. Then we have our traps. Let's start off with the engine traps. The engine traps that we have in our deck that are needed for a lot of the combos is the one trap we have set off of the Aroma Blend, which is our copy of Humid Winds. Humid Winds is our card that lets us get our Aroma monster from our deck by paying 1,000. And then anytime our life points are lower than our opponents, we just use this effect to gain 500, which can be nice because we can use that effect to trigger off the Link monster for the deck, the Aromas. Then we have a new copy from Raids of the Abyss, which is why I also wanted to do this, because this is a nice card that I found a very good addition to. It's part of the Ragnaraika engine, and it's called Ragnaraika Wisteria of Woe. Whoa, it's a big tree with skulls on its face. But skulls on it, literally. So, what Wisteria of Woe does is this card can be special summoned as a normal monster. So already you could think this card can be set off of the Silhouette Rabbit. Yeah, you can, but we're not playing it because it's not a plant monster. But nevertheless, this card is searchable because we can search it off the Ragnaraika Evil Seed. But why are we playing this card? So, not only can this card be considered as a plant monster because you can summon it as level 4, dark, plant, 1600 attack, 0 defense. This is considered a trap. Then if you control a Ragnaraika Link monster, you can banish up to 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard, which is a great effect. Being able to banish cards from opponent's graveyard is criminal in some decks. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle 2 insect, plant, and or reptile monsters from your graveyard and or banishment into the deck, and if you do, set this card. It doesn't get banished again when it leaves the field, so it's a follow-up card, because you can use it automatically to start off and go back into dry ash if you had it. But being able to reoccur any one of your plant monsters, whether that means in your extra deck, your main deck, is phenomenal reoccursion. Realistically, this card is just great because even the grind matchups, it's very needed because it'll give you the fuel to regain. And sometimes you blow through all your engines off the bat in your first turn. And if this card re-gives you the fuel that you'll need over time to get back in the game, if somehow you're not killing them out pretty easily and you need more resources, this gets you back into the game. Realistically, and that's why it's only needed at 1. We cry if this card gets Cosmic Cyclone, but playing it more than 1 is an absolute brick or terrible idea. But I think more people are going to start playing this in any insect, plant, or reptile deck. Ragnaraika really did get some really good card support, if I'm going to be honest with you, because this card's amazing. For the Rika engine, which this is the main interruption we are setting off of Con, which is going to be a copy of Rika Sheet. Not S-H-I-T, S-H-E-E-T. So you activate this card by attributing 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Also, you attribute 1 plant monster. Players cannot activate that face-up monster's effect on the field this turn. Then if you attributed a monster, when you activate this card, take control of that monster until the end phase, and if you do, it becomes a plant monster until the end phase. So, this card alone plus Con is attributing 2 monsters on our opponent's field. Well, attributing a monster and taking control of the other monster on our opponent's field. That's the whole reason why this card is in our deck. Now, another card that I showcased in my Ragnar Reptile version, that's a card that I like to call an interruption on my opponent's whole field, and that's a card called Sonavalon Bloom. This continuous trap is summoned off of one of our Link 4 plant monsters we have in our deck, which is one of my additions because I think negating our opponent's board right now is absolutely insane because it also can help out or force interruptions from Fiendsmith Desare, Waves King Caesar, all that kind of stuff, just full on board negates is crazy right now. So why can Bloom do this? It says when this is activated, if you control a Link 4 or higher plant monster, super easy to get to, especially in this deck. When this resolves, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. During damage calculation, if your plant link monster battles, you can activate this effect. It gains attack equal to the combined attack of all monsters it currently points to until the end of this turn. Most people don't know that secondary effect, but it can definitely come up in this deck. Like your best plant, like even if you have like most of the time your link 3 or link 4 can be pointing to at least 2 monsters minimal. So already this can make like a big low attack monster a pretty big monster if I'm not like realistically. And these effects remain even if this card leaves the field. So if like it leaves the field during the battle phase or the negation effect gets removed, no, this will still be in effect even if this leaves the field. You can only activate once in a bloom per turn, but it's searchable from the one link monster we play in our extra deck. So that's the reason we only play one. Then we have our board breakers. Actually, we played trap board breakers. 2 copies of evenly matched for going second. Very good card. Also very good. Like I said, board breakers just doing the thing right now. I do play the 1 copy of infinite permanence, even though I just mentioned that it's so easy to get go play around infinite permanence. We can set this card off of triple tactics thrust, and that's for a reason why we're doing it. By the way, evenly match can be done the same, adding it or setting it off of thrust and then using it right away. Is another good way of using that. But we are also playing 1 copy of Rivalry of Warlords because we are playing nothing but plant. And if our plant opponent gets access to our tokens that we are giving them through the Black Garden, we can actually lock our opponents out of anything but plants. Woo! Like, that's just... I'm sorry, but that's just a crazy effect. Like, most people can remember me doing this effect off of, Zombie World with the effect. I'm currently looking up something because I forget. Yes, I thought so. It was recently just the card was limited last one, but it was limited like the one beforehand. But this card is still a very good, amazing card. A lot of people could say that this is like, okay, so you're only just playing the one of it, so you have to hard draw it. Yes, but if you do hard draw it, it's an amazing card. Like you're guaranteed to put them on a plant lock. And also, if you do draw it late game, sometimes help just break boards because your opponent may be playing more than one archetype, but obviously it's not great against decks like Ubel, Fiendsmith, or it ruins Mimical. I'll give you that. I'll give that aspect. It completely ruins Mimical. But that's it for the main deck. Let's get off into the extra deck, which like I said, I mentioned already. It is extremely tight. Starting off, we have. I don't know how exactly I want to do this engine, go over this order. I guess I'm going to start you off with the non-plant link monsters because the plant link monsters are the more like important. So I'll just show you the ones that we play as supplement, like other cards we play in the deck. Because once I start getting to the plant link monsters, I'm going to be explaining more than what I'll have to explain for these. So for starters, let's start off with the 1 synchro monster we play in the deck, and that's a copy of Garden Rose Maiden. Her effect is straightforward, simple, but she's a plant, so you can actually make her in this deck. And if she is special summon, you get to add Black Garden from your deck or graveyard to hand. So don't worry if this card is banished. You can just get, or if the Black Garden is in the graveyard, you can get it right back with Garden Rose Maiden. Sometimes you don't even need to use her to get the Garden, but if you have access, if you need to, you can get it. She's also level 5, which is why we played level 4 tuner, because we have a lot of level 1 plant monsters in here, and vice versa, which is why she is very accessible. Our great Link 4, Exceed 4, rank 4, is Rika Queen Strenna. She takes 2 level 4 monsters, but we're only using plants for her, so that's why we had some level 4 plants in there, including the Angel Trumpeteer, which is in a level 4 we can summon off a Lone Fire Blossom to get to Strenna if we need to end on one of our other 2 Xyz monsters, which we use Strenna to get into. With Strenna, you can detach a material from this card, target 1 plant monster, or rick a card in your graveyard, add to your hand. Very good effect. If this card with Xyz material is tributed, which we can do off of like Lone Fire Blossom or Jasmine's effect, you can special summon 1 rank 5 or higher plant Xyz monster from your extra deck or graveyard, then you can attach this card to it as a material. You only use each effect of Rika Queen Strenna once per turn. So she's in here strictly for that reason alone, to get into our other 2 plant Xyz monsters, which here's one of them right now, which is the one that we usually were going to make off of Strenna, and that's the Omni Negate we get from Sacred Tree Hyperioton. Usually this card would take 2 level 9 monsters, and we don't have any level 9 plants. So this card's literally only in here to get off of Strenna. During your opponent's turn, when you activate a card effect, quick effect, target 1 card of the same type, monster, spell, or trap, in your graveyard, attach it to this card as a material. During your opponent's turn, when a card effect is activated, quick effect, you can attach a material of the same type, monster, spell, or trap from this card, and if you do, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So that's why it's so versatile in negation-wise, because like I said, you can choose to use it to negate anything. The last Xyz monster, which, like I said, Snowdrop makes this card on its own, and ironically, the card's called Teardrop, the Rika Queen. So it's literally Snowdrop's evolved form. Pretty much looks like Elsa from Frozen, but in my mind, she's nothing like Elsa. She's the artworks for these is insane. Realistically, she looks like a bride, yo. 2 level 8 monsters. Detach a material from this card. Target 1 monster on the field. Tribute it. So we could use her to trigger off Strenna or tribute our opponent's monster. This card gains 200 attack each time a monster is tributed. Until the end of this turn, but it stacks. So, like, you can tribute, like, a whole, like, 9 monsters if somehow that happened. And she gained 1,800 attack points because you did that effect. Tribute a monster 9 times. Now, on to the Plant Link monsters, which are the more, like, I have to do a lot of the lengthy explaining for these. Which pretty much should go without saying anything, is we are playing the 1 copy of Sinavalon Dryas and 1 copy of Sunvine Healer. We are not playing Thrasher. I know Thrasher can help for some OTKs, but I opted out for Thrasher. You can definitely consider side decking a Thrasher if you know you have to go for some OTKs. But I personally just went for the healer route. So Dryas is literally the main starter of a lot of our combos. Like I said, this is what you're going to off of the 1 unexpected die into seed into this. Then this effect triggers getting you access to Sunvine Sowing. And if you take damage by an effect, you can gain back the life points. And if you do, you can special summon 1 Plant Link monster. One Sunvine monster from your extra deck, which is the healer. You summon it underneath the Dryas. Then healer's effect targets the Dryas. You gain 300 life points. That on its own can get you out of, like, in time matchups that you just say you have the extra 300 life points, meaning you win. Simply because have time ruling matchups, it's a very janky way of doing it, but it happens, and that's how we play the game that we play. So, yeah, Plant Link. This card, I never would have thought of this card unless I saw Julius play it, so thank you for putting me on this card, dude. That's 1 copy of Sylvan Dance a Peony? Dance a Peony? Peony? I can't pronounce the last name of the card. I think it's Dance Peon. So that's what I'm going to say. Sylvan Dance Peon. It takes 2 plant monsters. If it's linked summon, choose a number between 1 and 3 and excavate that many cards off the top of your deck. And if you do, you can special summon Almost just choked on air. Sorry about that. Special summon up to 2 excavated plant monsters, but they cannot be used as link material. Also, send the remaining cards to the graveyard. You can target 1 plant monster in your graveyard that has a level. The level of all monsters this card points to become that monster's level until the end of this turn. So it can help make some of your Xyz monsters possible faster if you need to. But really, it's like I said, they can't be used as link material the turn they're summoned, but she is, like, you still use that effect, especially to get off to some of the other, like, how would I put this? You summon off of, like, Jasmine or Seed, and you could use, is it, no, what is it? What is the Aroma level 1? The one I'm trying to think about. Rosalina, sorry. If you summon Rosalina off of the effect, you could use her effect to summon Laurel, and then, you know, go on from there. But like I said, you can't use them for link material, but you could use them for synchro summoning. You could use them for Xyz summoning, which is what most of the time Days of Peony is going to be used for, is to make your Xyz monsters faster. The only Ragnaraika link monster. Normally my Ragnarok pile version, I played literally all of them. Like, I'm talking about Skeletal Soldier, Saline Snapper, Stag Sovereign, the Link 4, Mantis Monk. But no, we are only playing the 1 copy of Skeletal Soldier because it's a plant, and we use it to bring back really any of our, like, the seed if we need for extension. This card's also really good for link climbing because we just take a plant monster, put it back to the bottom of the deck, and then some of the Skeletal Soldier back. It's just very good for link climbing. And it's a main combo piece for the Ragnarika engine. Now, this next choice is going to be criminal to some people, because a lot of people are saying, if you're not playing 3 copies of this next card, you're doing this deck wrong. Oh my god, it's going to be crazy. Like, oh my god, people are going to be ranting in the chat, you need to play 3 copies of this card. Jasmine at 2. I'm talking about Aroma Seraphy Jasmine, the Link 2, which I'm playing 2 of. From 2 different rarities, by the way. Dupo and Battles of Love and Terms of Revenge. But why Jasmine I'm playing at 2? Well, I realized that I never really have needed the 3rd Jasmine at all when doing this deck. If you guys are so dead hard set on playing 3 copies of this card, you could consider taking out Dance Peon or even the Garden Rosemane if you chose not to do the Black Garden route, but I think the Black Garden route is absolutely insane right now. Locking your opponent into plants and filling their board up so they can't normal summon unless they get rid of it. And most of their monsters, they would need, like, I know off the bat, there's no monster that I can, like, straight think of that after filling your opponent's board with, unless they're playing Link Spider, they are making nothing. They're going to have to waste their own battle phase just to crash in with the plant tokens. But Jasmine's in here because you need her to do a lot of your plant combos, and I only ever needed 2 to get on the end board that I desire with Jasmine. And if you need more Jasmine, guess what? That new trap card that I talked about, Ragnaraika Woes of Wisteria, can put these back in the extra deck. Wow! Guess you really don't need to play 3 of it after all. That would be my response if anybody kind of criticized me for not playing 3 of this card, is read the trap card. Next is a Link 3 that I never even thought about. Another Link 3 I never thought about. Sanavalon Melias. Melias is a really weird card being like included in this deck, but after reading what it does, it makes sense. If it's Link summoned, you can special summon a Sunseed Genless Sea Loki from your graveyard. This card can be targeted for attacks, but it does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Once per turn, you can target 1 Sign Vine Link monster you control that this card points to. It can attack a number of times, each time up to the battle phase, up to the number of Sneveling Link monsters you currently control. We're never using that last effect except in a really, really desperate situation, which will never, like, I would say happen in a Blue Moon. But it's in here to help, like, your Link 4 plant monster, and that's really what it's in here for, realistically. That's why this is the only reason we play it. The other Link 3 we play in the deck is the 1 copy of Aroma Lilith Rosemary. She's needed for the Aroma combo. She, once made, searches the blend to activate, discard card, put the Blessed Winds face up in the spell and trap zone, and then use the effect, get Aroma Lilith Rosalina, and then we can, by paying the 1,000, you'll see it as we get into the combo. Oh, the other part is if you gain life points, you can summon up to 3 from your hand, which is part of that whole reason. On to the Link 4s. What we use to search off the bloom. 1 copy of Sanavalon Drina Trinity. This card is also part of the end, one of the 2 monsters we are going to end up in our extra monster zone on our end board a lot of the time. This card gets, you literally will get access, you can get access to this card on your first turn and get access to the bloom. If you don't already draw, like somehow randomly draw the bloom, you can skip past summoning the Giant Trinity and just go right to the Link 5 finisher, which we'll get into after we get into the last Link 4. But that's the only reason the Giant Trinity's in here is to search off the bloom. Search out the bloom. That's the 1 copy of Ben Galancer, the Resurgent, which is the only other Link 4 we are playing in this deck. A lot of people already know what Ben Galancer does. But it basically is a bounce effect. You just, quick effect, target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, take damage equal to its attack, and if you did, take damage returned to your hand. If this is in your graveyard, you can banish 2 or more Link monsters from your graveyard whose combined Link ratings exactly equal 4. Special on this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use 1 Ragnaraika, Ben Galancer the Resurgent effect once per turn, and only once that turn. The last monster we play in the deck is a Link 5, and that is a common card. Most people choose to not play this card because it's like not needed. I personally think this card is very, very needed. I can't tell you how many times it's come up for me. This card to me is like, put this up against Tenpai. The amount of life points you will be getting will survive a Trident Dragon. It's Cosmic Tree Irma-Still. If I'm up against Tenpai and I know that, there are times when I have chosen to go first and summon Irma-Still, knowing that if I get Raigeki, Dark Ruler no more, or anything like that, I can protect Irma-Still with the Sunvine Sowing, and then Irma-Still will just give me life points every time my opponent summons a monster, which against Trident, which against any of that is just criminal. Literally, you'll have enough life points to survive Trident Dragon at its 9,000 triple attack. It's criminal. Yeah, so that's the whole extra deck. Onto my side deck, which I have built. We are actually side decking a 2nd copy of Lone Fire Blossom. And side decking here because we want to get access to some of the cards. Like, think about our deck can really like die off of being like targeted, like say target to pop cards. But the other Edison card we brought in from our the Edison collection is the Titanial Princess of Chamomiles. You can summon this off of Lone Fire Blossom, which you'll need the 2 Lone Fire Blossoms to make this if you do this version. I'm not going to showcase that combo because that combo, oh my god, it takes me so long to get to that combo. I'd be here forever. But it's very accessible, by the way. Yeah, it's another way to out Imperm and just dodge some targeting card effects. So, yeah, that's why we play the Chamomile package in the side deck. Then we have some hand traps in case we need to put like more interruption cards or fix our hand. We have Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, Drone Lockbird, 2 Ash Blossoms, and a copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. I want to have a good amount, but I didn't want to like overclock. But this is enough for 9 replacements of the like if we need to take out 9 of our board breakers and put in 9 hand traps, we can do that plus these 12, which is Book of Eclipse, which will make us the 12. Or you don't have to play Ghost Ogre if it doesn't match up, and put it in the 3rd evenly matched we have, which is our last card for the side deck. Now that I've gone over the side deck, guys, let me show you some of the 1-card combos that we get, the combos we have in the Plant Link deck. So for this combo, I'm going to start with 1 copy of Unexpected Die, and any random last card in hand to discard off of card effects. That's all we're going to need to do this, but it's really because you'll have it in your hand and really just need the one copy of die. So let me zoom out here for a second so I can show you the combo. So this is our hand. So we start by going activate unexpected die, assuming we're not getting interrupted by our opponent. This is what you would do. You special summon the Sunseed Genesis Loki from the deck. Immediately after summon Loki, you link summon the Link 1 Sanavalon Dryas. In the extra monster zone. When you link summon Sanavalon Dryas, by doing this, you get to use its effect to add a Sanavalon Sunvine spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. If you use Sunseed Genesis Loki to make this effect, to make this card, which is right there. So you add the Sunvine Sowing. Here we're going to activate Sunvine Sowing, special summoning the Sunseed Twin from our deck. Here. And then we take 1,000 points of damage through this effect, which will immediately trigger the effect of Sun Avalon Dryas as Chainlink 1, because we lost 1,000 life points. And Chainlink 2 is going to be the effect of Sunseed Twin, targeting the Sunseed Genesis Loki that's in our graveyard. In resolution, we summon back the Genesis Loki, and then with Dryas' effect, we summon the other Sun Avalon Link monster in our extra deck, Sunvine monster in our extra deck, which is going to be Sunvine Healer. Off of Sunvine Healer, we're going to immediately target the effect Dryas to gain ourselves the 300 life points off of that effect. Then from here, you take the... You can do two ways. If you know you need to go to a Xyz monster, you could go target the link away like the Dryas and the Healer, because either way, if you link away the Dryas, your Healer is going to leave the field, so you might as well just get rid of these two. You can either do Sylvan, Dance of Peon, and like try to get another monster to make an Xyz monster. Like if you're trying to forcefully go into Hyperioton first, you can do that route. But the one I'm going to show you does not include that. This round is going to include the Jasmine round, which is the one the most stapler combo that most people are going to know how to do or want to know how to do. That's going to summon, like I said, it's going to summon our copy of Aromatherapy Jasmine. Using Jasmine's effect, we are going to tribute the Sunseed Genesis Loci, which points to, and special summon from our deck Lone Fire Blossom. Now, what I didn't tell you is that Jasmine is a hard once per turn, a soft once per turn. So, as in, if you make a second Jasmine after this Jasmine, you can use that second summon Jasmine's effect to do this all over again. So, just watch how this ends up on. Lone Fire Blossom's effect, tribute the Sunseed Twin. And make Ragnaraika the Evil Seed. When Evil Seed summoned, use Evil Seed's effect to grab Ragnaraika Bloom and Samurai Beetle. You could also, well, it doesn't really matter which Ragnaraika monster you choose here. Like, if you don't want to do Samurai Beetle, you can easily just choose the copy of the Butterfly instead, which is just as fine here. I just need a Ragnaraika monster. to search off of the other effect. You don't want to search the Wisteria of Woes. At least not yet. You could also search Wisteria of Woes, but you don't want to banish the other random card you have in your hand sometimes. And honestly, I just think it's better to banish the Wicked Butterfly here. So banishing the Wicked Butterfly, which we're going to consider this our banish zone, because we have to banish the card after we add it off of the effect of Seed. Then we have to trigger the effect of Ragnaraika Wicked Butterfly here, which will resolve during the end phase to draw a card for each of the different types of plant, like monster we control, plant, plant, insect, reptile. Next, we take the copy of Aromaseraphy Jasmine, along with our copy of Lone Fire Blossom, and link summon into Rosemary. When we summon Rosemary, we have to add an aroma card from our deck or hand, which is why we needed a second card to make this combo. You're going to search the copy of Aroma Blend. Now we activate Aroma Blend, discarding that card we had in our extra hand, which in this case I chose the Terraforming, but we're keeping the Bloom in our hand because we're going to need Bloom here in a few. So, discarding that last card. Put Humid Winds face up in the spell trap card zone. My dog is going crazy for some reason. I'm sorry if you hear that. Humid Winds effect. You pay 1,000 life points. Add an aroma monster from your deck to your hand. So we're searching out Rosalina. And now you can use the effect of Humid Winds to gain life points again. And then because we gained life points off of the effect of Rosemary, and you gain life points even during the damage step, you can special summon up to 3 aroma monsters from your hand to your zone this card points to. So special summoning the one copy of Rosalina from our hand, which we just added off of the effect of Humid Winds, which is why it's all in here. Rosalina's effect will let us special summon a aroma monster from our deck, which we're going to obviously summon the only one we can, which is our Romage Laurel. By the way, I didn't. It's clearly obvious that this combo plays heavily into Nibiru, but the end result is it's just fantastic. So, here we can use Rosemary here now to use Interruption. We can use, if we summon the Laurel here, if we summon Laurel here, we can tribute the Laurel to use the effect of Rosemary to banish a card our opponent controls going second. But we're not doing that for this combo. By the way, if you did that, you would also gain 1,000 light points, which also triggers the effect. But Humid Winds does it for us going first. Here, I'm going to take Aroma Lilith, Rosemary, and Laurel, and link into I'm sorry. I mean, we're taking the Evil Seed and Laurel and making Skeletal Soldier. Doesn't matter, as long as the Skeletal Soldier points to the zone, it's fine. Using Skeletal Soldier's effect, you can summon back the Evil Seed from the graveyard. It does not have to point to the zone Evil Seed points to, so that don't worry about that. Then, because Laura was sent to the graveyard, we are going to gain another 500 life points. So we should be back to where we started, if not dang close to it. Now, weirdly enough, we are going to link away Rosemary and the Skeletal Soldier to make the link for Drynet Trinity. That might seem like a weird thing to do, but trust me, it's all part of the combo. Using this, we're gonna add the Bloom to our hand, which is going to be great for our follow-up. Now, we can we don't really need the Drina Trinity anymore here. But for this situation, let's just do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to take the Rosalina, place it to the bottom of the deck, and summon back the Skeletal Soldier, which we have not used the effect yet. Then right away use the Skeletal Soldier and the Seed. And Link summon the Link 3, which I never would have thought playing, the Sun Avalon Melius. And because we have the Lokai still in our graveyard from earlier, we summon the Lokai back. And then link these two away to make Bengal Lancer the Resurgent. We can activate the Bloom here to bring back the Evil Seed. Set one card face down and hold. I did all of that off of one unexpected die. You guys saw it there. This whole field ended off of just one unexpected die and a random discard we had in our hand. Uninterrupted, by the way. That is insane to me. What this field does, follow up for next turn. Human Winds will either give us more life points and or search off our Rosemary, Rosalina, which we put back to the bottom of their deck. If we have Wisteria Woes next turn, which would be the Evil Seed here. Right now it's just an extra part of defense because we can just bring it back off of the Bloom. You could have even not needed to activate the Bloom. Realistically, if you're or saved it and like skip that, but then you want it handing on Bengal Lancer, or even just like not even needed to do this. Like you could have just left this here and not have some of the seed, so that you can revive the seed next turn because it's Earth. Then go in to get the Wisteria Rose. You need to get Recursion back, but you're also going to get a free draw at the end of the turn, like I said, off of the effect of Wicked Butterfly. So you're going to have, if you did that, you would have 2 cards in your hand or 1 card in your hand based off how you did the result. You're going to have your Bengal Lancers bounce back. You're going to have your set copy of Sun Avalon Bloom, which is going to give your field a whole opponent monster negate on your opponent's field. Your monsters are all getting 300 attack and defense, while theirs going to be losing 300 attack and defense. In your graveyard, you also have Skeletal Soldier for follow-up. You don't have the fusion monster, but like I said, you also have protection through Sunvine Sowing if you're trying to destroy the card effect. This is all for just off of 1 copy of Unexpected Die. Now let me reset here for the second combo that I want to showcase. Let's just say we have, it's not I wouldn't say a whole 1 card combo, but it's really just the seed plus any one of our any one of our other plant monsters. Really, it just needs to be seed plus really anything else. Like if we don't want to go the Lokai route, there is another thing we can do here. So let's just say the other monster I have in my hand is Wicked Butterfly, because we won't need Wicked Butterfly for this effect. Just for example, off of just 1 Ragnaraika, the Evil Seed, this is a 1 card starter again. We're going to use the Evil Seed's effect by pitching the Wicked Butterfly in our hand, summon the Evil Seed. Evil Seed's effect. Grab. Bloom. And once I find it, Samurai Beetle. This combo does not work if you discarded the Samurai Beetle off of the effect to summon the seed. But you can search the Wisteria Votes here if you already have the Samurai Beetle in hand. which is another reason why we play it, because there are some cases that will happen, because you have to have 2 different cards from your deck to hand, except with different names, except Evil Seed when you use Evil Seed's effect. Now, like I said, after all that, we banish the copy of Ragnaraika Samurai Beetle. And then we're going to activate the bloom, summon back the beetle from our banished. We're not locked into plants right now, so we're able to do this whole thing. Once we do that, we can link these 2 off and make Skeletal Soldier. Then, because we link summon a Ragnaraika link monster using Samurai Beetle, Samurai Beetle's effect activates. Can summon back any one of the ones we have in our graveyard, obviously except Samurai Beetle. So it doesn't really matter in this case. In this way, I'm going to summon back the Wicked Butterfly, just because it could help us on a different way. But it literally could be anything you summon back. It could even be if you really didn't have any, like, one thing to bring back. Because the monster you summon back has to be level 4 or lower. So in this case, it could be Wicked Butterfly. But sometimes, like most of the time, you'll just be bringing back Seed off of this effect. So I'll showcase the Seed route. Then we use Samurai Skeletal Soldier's effect to bring back the Ragnaraika Skeletal Samurai Beetle. Then from here, we can take away the copy of Evil Seed and Skeletal Soldier and go right into either Rosemary. We could either make Rosemary here. We could also make Jasmine here. Either one of them is going to end off in, like, we could take 2 separate routes here from going forward. It's so diverse. Like, the lines for this are so diverse, it's insane. Personally, my favorite route here to do in this situation is to actually go for Rosemary in this situation. Because once we do this, we can use Rosemary's effect to go ahead and obviously, I'll just go through the whole motions again. Add the blend. We discard a card off another card from our hand, so we have 2 cards left in our hand now. With the blend, place the effect of Human Winds. And then Human Winds effect, pay life points, search copy of Rosalina. Then use the secondary effect of Human Winds to gain 500 life points. Use the effect of this to special summon into the hand the zone the point Rosemary points to. Then Rosalina's effect to special summon Laurel from the deck. And then here, this is how we can make Black Garden. Level 1 Rosalina tunes level 1 Laurel, and level 3 Samurai Beetle. Synchro summon into Garden Rose Maiden. Garden Rose Maiden's effect obviously searches off our copy of Black Garden. So now we're back to 3 cards in our hand, 2 mystery cards plus Black Garden. Go ahead and activate Black Garden here because it's actually that step is actually mandatory to get off with the rest of this. Then from here, think away the Garden Rose Maiden and Rosemary. To make Drynet Trinity. The first effect is going to be first effect is mandatory, which is Black Garden, which is going to attempt to have our Drynet Trinity. And Drynet Trinity is effect to be Chainlink 2. So our opponent is going to have one plant token, which this dice is going to represent on the copy of Black Garden. So that's going to summon how many times we've used Black Garden, okay? which means how many tokens our opponent has. Then with, obviously, Dryad Trinity's effect, grab the copy of Bloom from our deck. Which we set. Now, like I said, we already used Skeletal Soldier to bring things back. And that is just how you do the 1-card combo off of Evil Seed. It's not a full end board because you're going to rely on the rest of the other 2 cards you have in your hand. But again, what this all ends you up on, you have your Human Winds for follow-up. You have Bloom to recur some cards during the end of the turn, obviously. You have your Dryad Trinity combo with the Sun Avalon Bloom to negate cards on the opponent's field. And you gave your opponent the copy of the token to lock them out of impermanence or just the random token. Because every time they summon a monster now during the turn, unless they have a way of getting rid of Black Garden, all the monsters they summon is going to be attacked half. Yes, that means you're going to be your board might end potentially full off on just Rose tokens with 800 attack in attack position. But even that alone, like the Rose tokens, like, excuse me, if the Rose token is, the Rose tokens don't have an effect if they leave the field, so it's not going to be crazy, but you're going to essentially might end up on a full board with like all those normal monsters. And even if this is up, even if against up Yubel, if you end up on a field of just 800 attack point tokens and 1 Dryad Trinity, that's not, I mean, they're not even going to be a 800 for you, because really all the insect, plant, and reptile monsters on the field are going to be gaining 300 attack and defense from Bloom. So they're actually going to be 1100 tokens on both players' side of the field, which could just be really funny to have like a crash out battle between 1100 monsters. But somehow it gets back to you, what's the harm in that? If the turn ends back to you and you have a full field of the plant tokens, you can easily just go Jasmine. You can make Dance of Peony. You could easily take one of the tokens, place it back to the bottom, and get back the Skeletal Soldier from the graveyard. You can remake. You can start the turn with Dryas. You can make Healer. You can make Melius. You could even make Bangalancer using 4 of the tokens. It doesn't matter. The fact is, when you do that, you're just locking your opponent out. And I did all that off of 1 copy of Evil Seed. And 1 random card of another monster to discard. Those are the 2 main combos I got for main card combos I got for you guys. If you guys want to see me do more explanation or more combo tutorials with this deck, with my specific version, let me know down below. And let me guys know what you guys think. I mean, obviously, I know it's not like, it's definitely not your typical version that you would see some people play, but I think for my first time go around on this, using like inspiration and not going like crazy card for card, I think I did pretty well here doing my own 60 card plant deck. Yeah, like I said, guys, let me know what you guys thought about this deck. And if you guys stuck around for the whole video, say I was here at the end. And like I said, I'll get some card timestamps down below for descriptions for you guys. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. Stay tuned for some more decks that I have coming your way. Some of those decks include Mimigul, 6 Samurai, the new updated Centurion list, Thunder Dragon, Plunder Patrol. I got so many coming up for you guys. Yeah, we're going to have videos coming out the year soon. This is your boy signing out. Peace, guys.